The verdict is in after an emotional journey from campus to courtroom in the Vanderbilt rape trial. An alcohol-soaked case based on hazy memories of a brutal attack. The defense claiming the college party culture is partly to blame for bad behavior. So now the question, what price will they pay? Here's ABC's Ryan Smith for our series, Crime and Punishment.
Can you explain your actions?
I'm just sorry. I never intended on hurting anyone. I was extremely intoxicated.
He claims he can't remember what happened.
I guess it was due to the effects of the alcohol. I must have blacked out. I have no recollection.
Corey Beatty and Brandon Vandenberg, former students at Vanderbilt University facing decades in prison for the sexual assault of another student, a 21-year-old female.
I remember waking up in an unfamiliar room at 8-something the next morning.
One defendant's strategy involved blaming his behavior on a crazy college culture and shows like Jersey Shore.
They want to be like the people on TV. They see shows like Jersey Shore, and they think it's funny. And these shows glorify drinking, they glorify sex, they glorify promiscuous sex, they glorify acting out, they glorify multiple partners.
The prosecution keyed in on 3 pieces of evidence: surveillance video, testimony from a co-defendant,
I don't recall that,
and images of the assault. They claim surveillance video shows the victim being carried by Vandenberg to his dorm room, accompanied by Beatty and 2 others.
Vandenberg, it says we're going to have.
According to prosecutors, the 4 former football players laughed at the victim during the assault.
Vandenberg then gets condoms out and gives everyone a condom.
Vandenberg is alleged to have literally passed around condoms to try to encourage other people to have sex with this woman he was presumably dating at the time. So as a legal matter, even though there's not an allegation that Vandenberg engaged in a physical act of rape that night, the authorities believe his actions, his intentions, his comments all become rape because of what he was doing and saying that night.
Vandenberg also taking images of the assault, and prosecutors claiming he sent images of the attack to his friends and searched online how to delete photos so police couldn't find them. Prosecutors saying they then texted each other about the attack.
The photos are vile. They're disturbing when you realize that this is a woman who is passed out.
Testifying in his own defense Monday, Corey Beatty stunned the courtroom, admitting he was in the video of the assault.
Do you take responsibility for your conduct?
After seeing the footage, I do. It was me.
He went further, apologizing to the victim from the stand.
I'm just sorry. I never intended on hurting anyone.
What was that moment like in the courtroom when Corey Beatty apologized to the alleged victim while he was on the stand?
It was kind of a silent moment in the courtroom. I know my eyes turned to the victim to see how she would react, and she really didn't have any sort of visible reaction. She's been somewhat stoic through parts of his testimony until, she became ill.
And while he admits he's in the video, Beatty also testified he was too drunk to remember the incident after consuming between 14 and 22 drinks that night.
What, if any, recollection today do you have of that event?
None at all.
Beatty saying he didn't realize what he'd done until the next morning, finding graphic pictures on his phone just as he was on his way to church.
I was horrified. I didn't know how they got there. I didn't remember it, and I didn't know what had happened to the young lady and the pictures, and I immediately deleted them.
But like Beatty, she says she has no recollection of the attack, only what she was told after the fact.
What did he tell you had happened?
He told me that I had gotten sick in his room and he had to clean it up, and that it was horrible, and that he had to spend the whole night taking care of me, and that it was horrible.
Testifying last week that she'd been out drinking that night with Vandenberg, who she'd been casually seeing at the time before passing out.
I felt very out of it. I didn't feel like myself. I felt very confused. I felt sick, as in nauseous. I started to develop a really bad headache, and I also was in pain in certain parts of my body. I was sore all over. Like I said, I was in pain, particularly left shoulder, left wrist, right knee. I also had a lot of bruises on my legs, and I did notice a few days later that I had bruises on my buttocks.
Michael Kimmel, a sociologist and professor, says many perpetrators use sexual violence to make a point.
It's a way of saying to women, you may be equal to us. You may be able to run circles around me on the soccer field. You may be getting a better grade than I am in organic chemistry. But at night, at this party, you're still just a bitch. I have power over you.
The trial comes as a national debate rages about the prevalence of rapes on college campus.
It's a process in terms of a rape victim's desire to come out and talk about these issues. But what this trial is helping us all to do is have a national conversation. And it's helping people realize rape is going on. It is going on in these college campuses. It is something that we need to be aware of, and it's something that we need to work to resolve.
We find Mr. VANDENBURG guilty of aggravated rape.
It only took 3 hours for a jury to come back with a verdict against the two players.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Corey Lamont Beatty, guilty of aggravated rape.
Guilty on multiple counts, including sexual assault, attempted rape, and destroying evidence.
Sexual violence against women is wrong. Don't blame the culture, don't blame alcohol, and don't blame the victim. Sexual violence is a crime, and it will be prosecuted.
The two will be sentenced in March, facing decades in prison. The controversy over sexual assault and alcohol on college campuses continues. I'm Ryan Smith in Nashville, Tennessee.